Lots of people collect autographed sports gear, from caps and pictures to balls and bobbleheads. In fact, over the past 2 decades, sports memorabilia has become a multi-billion-dollar business and a magnet for scam artists. That's where the sports detectives come in. It's a new series on the Smithsonian Channel.
You may have seen the iconic picture of Jim Craig after that gold medal game draped in a flag.
Oh, sure.
There's conflicting reports about that flag, meaning who has it. It was mayhem on the ice afterwards. Is anybody following that flag? What happened to that flag? A lot of questions.
It doesn't get more iconic than that flag. We've got to track it down.
Kevin Barrows is a former FBI agent, now an investigative consultant for the NFL and the NHL, and host of the Sports Detectives. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Just how much fraud is there out there?
Some estimate up to like 90% of memorabilia is fraudulent.
Wow.
Yeah,
So how do you know?
You know, it's tough. You have to certainly purchase anything you're going to purchase from a reputable dealer. That's number one. And you have to look at two things. Really, provenance, really the history of ownership of an item is very important. And then, of course, you have to examine the item itself.
So the premiere episode is what we just showed a clip of.
Yes.
People saw there, you were looking at Kevin Craig and the American flag that was draped on his shoulders.
Jim Craig, yeah.
Jim Craig, excuse me, yes. Jim Craig draped on his shoulders right after the gold medal victory in 1980. What happened to that flag?
It's an excellent question, and what we sort of sought to find out. And the two people think that they left with that flag ultimately. So there's two different narratives about that flag and what happened to it. And, we sought to figure out which one is accurate, which one's true, and to authenticate the flag in the end.
How do you begin that process?
Well, you begin by speaking to people, of course. You interview all the witnesses. You determine sort of the path that the flag took afterwards, and then you have forensic experts who can identify flags by age and by their wear, and you come to a conclusion.
Is that what you advise people who don't know if they have real memorabilia or fake memorabilia to do, like to go out and seek out experts on it all?
Absolutely. I mean, if you have a piece of memorabilia, you believe it's a particularly important piece, you should definitely get it authenticated the best way you can. And if it's an autograph, there are people, of course, who authenticate autographs routinely. If it's a historical item, game used, there are experts in that area who can tell you if it's from the period, and hopefully there's some documentation supporting it.
Another item you tried to locate was football great Jim Brown's NFL championship ring from 1964, which was stolen from his house supposedly about 2 years later.
Correct.
And then it popped up?
Yes. It ended up popping up at an auction house. And the position of the auction house was, hey, this was purchased from someone who said that they got it from Jim Brown's wife.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the question was, was this stolen, or was it something that she got in a divorce and sold? And we sought to try to figure out the truth, to determine was there actually a theft or evidence of a theft back in the mid-'60s.
Well, so did Brown get it back?
Oh, you have to watch and see.
That's the way to teach your show. Let's talk about another one that you guys looked into, Muhammad Ali's gold medal,
yes.
1960s Olympics in Rome. There was a story that he threw it into the Ohio River.
Yes. Yeah, that story comes out from Ali in The Greatest, 1975, his book. And ultimately, he said that because of the racism he faced when he came back to Louisville after winning that medal, he couldn't get served at a diner, and I'm out there representing my country. I don't want this medal if I can't even order a hamburger in my own town. So that's the story. And we sought to determine, the validity of that story and establish the facts surrounding it.
You actually sent divers into the river.
We did, because he describes in the book where he dropped it, how he dropped it into that river. So, we sent divers down to look for it.
There's so many instances of this. How do you guys whittle down which ones you're actually going to pursue?
I think it's just, historical investigations are difficult. So you want to pursue things where there's a possibility, where there's still witnesses potentially, where there still might be documentation, things that you can still review. All
right. Well, Anthony has a baseball he wants you to look at. Kevin Barrows, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Sports Detectives premieres next Sunday at 9 p.m. on the Smithsonian Channel, which is a division of CBS.